While the group was on their date and the trainer was on his date with the hookup, the Melly's ex-wife showed up. Yes, he'd been married before, and she makes so much accusations, starts revealing all of his secrets to everybody. Because again, this was stuff they never knew about him, and again, in a public place with a bunch of people there. The hookup gets up, drags her out of there, drags her to the back, physically and verbally threatens her, even goes as far as stating that he would kill her if she ever shows up to his restaurant again. He is pissed because, again, she's making a scene at his family's restaurant and ruining his date with the trainer that he's been working for this entire time. He is not a happy camper. The male lead had to leave, and the main character is obviously upset about this whole situation. The single father had to pay for some of it, and the hookup waived a good portion of the bill, but it would have been a very expensive bill. And they all go home, all shocked and very upset. And they're like, you know what? We were kind of rooting for him, but now we're hoping the single father will swoop in and take the main character from him. The main character and the male lead, they have a conversation, and the others are not pleased about it, but they can't do anything because, again, this is the main character's decision if he wants to stay with the male lead or not. This conversation leads to the male lead telling the main character a lot of things. One, he was never his parents' favorite child, that was his older brother. How he opened up the company and business with his business partner. How he got with his ex-wife, which was through his business partner, who had thought the male lead would just have a fling with her, and because he introduced the male lead to his fling, the male lead would never leave their business. He was hoping to use her as blackmail to keep the male lead in place. Didn't think the male lead would marry her, but he did. This woman was a raging gold digger. She brought him gifts to keep him from thinking she was a raging gold digger, but once they got married, she started showing her true colors. But once she realized he wasn't as rich as she thought he was, because again, he liked to spoil her on dates, she decided to spend more than what they had, would emotionally, verbally abuse him, and financially abuse him on top of it. Like, she was a terrible, abusive partner that drove him insane and took his mental health plummeting. Like, this dude was very much in not a safe place. His life was very toxic at this point. She started gambling, started taking loans. She used the fact that his downstairs wasn't working to, get a leeway during their divorce. I am not kidding. She was the cause of his downstairs not being able to work, but she used it to her advantage. It is just terrible. He also ended up taking half of her debt and loans, because how did he not know she had debts and loans and was communicating them during his marriage with her? It was just super terrible. And he tells the main character everything. So he's trying to pay off his ex-wife's loans and debts, and he still has to pay her because, again, she does not have a job. So until she gets a job, he has to pay her and take care of her. He is not in a great financial situation. And on top of going and quitting his job at the company, he's in a way worse situation. Like, it's just terrible. Now, he acknowledges that he schemed and tricked and deceived the main character during their relationship because he was hoping as long as the main character was in love with him, he could tell the main character the truth about his financial situation, and so the main character wouldn't leave him. And if the main character did, he'd at least have all these sweet and perfect moments he had with the main character to remember it. But he was hoping that the main character would sooner or later get red rose glasses and look the other way with his financial situation. Smack, 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 dude. No. Now, the main character, he's not upset about the whole scheming and deceiving part. No, what he's upset about is that the male lead in his head has them in traditional, stereotypical gender roles. The main character taking the stereotypical, traditional roles of a woman, and the male lead taking the men's. That the main character will be the traditional, stereotypical wife, and the male lead will be the stereotypical, traditional husband, and has been seeing them this way this entire time in their relationship, and is still seeing them that way, and saw himself and his ex-wife in this way. That's one reason why his wife took an advantage of him, is because he saw them in the traditional, stereotypical ways. Like in Case Files Condemn, where the male lead was repeatedly used and abused by his ex-wife because of those stereotypical, traditional role mindset that he had. And the main character points that out to the male lead. And now that the main character is one with the more financial situation, better situation, he has kind of reversed in his head where he will be the wife and the main character will be the husband until he's able to get his position in the financial better position, and he will switch them back where he's the he's the working husband and the main character is the housewife kind of way. And the main character's like, I cannot be with you if you're going to continue to have this mindset. I am sick and tired of this mindset. Yes, I'm perfectly fine being called wife and prince, but I do not want to be treated like I'm a stereotypical traditional wife. I do not want you to be treated like a stereotypical traditional husband or a stereotypical traditional wife. That is not how relationships work. That is not how healthy, good relationships work. You need to get out of this mindset. So the male lead leaves and actually thinks through it and realizes how right the main character is. And his mindset does get fixed, where him and the main character has the whole knight and prince relationship, or healthy, balanced relationship where they call each other husband and wife, the main character being very pleased to be called prince and wife. But yes, the relationship gets healthier after they have this difficult conversation. So throughout the series, the main character has been seeing the same publishing house, the same editor this entire time, trying to get his book pushed and fixing his book through the advice of the editor. And this is when the editor loses it on him and informs him about how the real publishing world works, how the book world works. Like, he is just giving the main character the know-how, giving the main character the same lecture the main character gave the photographer, like losing it on the main character. He also reveals to the main character their publishing house is going under, so if the main character wants his book to be released, the main character will have to go somewhere else. And you know what the main character does? He does acknowledge that maybe he's not meant to be a writer, but he's going to continue because this is his dream, but he's not going to go into any other publishing house. He buys that publishing house. He literally buys it and saves it from going under. The main character doesn't just buy that publishing house, he pays off all of the male lead's debts and loans. Like, he gives the male lead enough money to pay it all off and a little bit of extra money, and the male lead is utterly shocked when he realizes what the main character did. And this is when he finds out how rich the main character is, because that's just a little dime in the main character's bank account. That didn't even put a dent in it. So yes, he now knows the main character is richy rich. They actually have a little bit of a conversation about the main character's financial situation. So the single father's family's friend's son comes to the city. They have to find him an apartment. They do find an apartment. He's there so he can study, get into college, and go to college. And the single father is supposed to help him and support him and take care of him and push him in college, make sure to keep an eye on him. And he's perfectly fine because he sees this boy as his nephew. He wants to take care of the boy. He also has to tell the boy the truth about his brother and sister-in-law, which this kid doesn't take very well. And sooner or later, when the single father's mother and the family friend's son's mother comes to visit, they find out the truth, which is a whole mess. Everyone is literally having a breakdown. It is an emotional big mess. Everyone is running around to try to take care of the single father's mother because, again, her health issues goes and arises. They're trying to get hold of a doctor. They're trying to get all the medicine. Like, they're trying to take care of her and help her get emotionally stable. It is a sad, horrible mess. We feel bad for everybody. Like, it is just really bad. But she does sooner or later find the truth, but this is not how he wanted his mother to find out the truth. Because, again, sadly, the poor kid wasn't able to keep his mouth shut until he was, the single father was able to tell her. So yes, it's just bad. It was super